those of us fluent in the life cycle of the Donald Trump scandal, recognize exactly where we are right now, today, in the fallout from that Signal chat. Like one of those big maps at the mall, you are here, the familiar point at which Trump, and by extension, everyone in his orbit, including most Republicans, insists it's just a witch hunt. Remember, first it was no big deal, who cares? Now it's us, the media, that created the whole thing. That the media is somehow the bad guy, the villain in the story, for reporting on the mistake made by the Trump administration when they inadvertently presented to a journalist a sensitive plan to strike the Houthis in Yemen before the Houthis in Yemen were struck by the U.S. military. Trump told our NBC News colleague, Kristen Welker, over the weekend this, quote, "I don't fire people because of fake news and because of witch hunts," end quote. He adds, quote, "I have no idea what Signal is. I don't care what Signal is. All I can tell you is it's just a witch hunt. And it's the only thing the press wants to talk about because you have nothing else to talk about," end quote. Now, putting aside the sheer number of critical issues the rest of us still have to talk about, you should know that Donald Trump provided that answer to Kristen Welker in response to new reporting about new developments in the story, in Politico and elsewhere. The new reporting shows that members of Trump's own cabinet are now suggesting he fire National Security Advisor Mike Waltz. Mike Waltz is the person who inadvertently added Atlantic editor Jeffrey Goldberg to the Signal chat. Now, Goldberg is the reporter who earned Trump's forever wrath when he broke the story about Donald Trump referring to veterans as, quote, losers and suckers. It's a story Trump still goes to great lengths to deny after some of the most senior military generals in our country's history have confirmed it. And why Waltz maintains that Goldberg somehow got sucked into this super secret Signal chat, Jeffrey Goldberg explained exactly how it likely happened over the weekend.
This isn't the Matrix. Phone numbers don't just get sucked into other phones. I don't know what he's talking about there. Very frequently in journalism, the most obvious explanation is the explanation. My phone number was in his phone because my phone number is in his phone. He's telling everyone that he's never met me or spoken to me. That's simply not true. I understand why he's doing it. But this has become a somewhat farcical situation. There's no subterfuge here. My number was in his phone. He mistakenly added me to the group chat. There we go.
There we go. Now, adding to the concern about Mike Waltz, more new reporting in the Wall Street Journal over the weekend. It says this, quote, two U.S. officials also said that Waltz has created and hosted multiple other sensitive national security conversations on Signal with cabinet members, including separate threads on how to broker peace between Russia and Ukraine, as well as military operations. They declined to address if any classified information was posted in those chats. Now, among the administration officials who reportedly urged Donald Trump to fire Waltz is J.D. Vance, the vice president, who, according to NBC News, is getting an earful from senior Republican lawmakers these days, not because he was part of the Signal group chat, but because on the group chat, his comments didn't exactly reflect Trump's desires, or because he was promoting an escalation in that campaign against the Houthis. And then there's, I feel like we're going to say this a lot, there's Pete Hegseth, Trump's Secretary of Defense. He, too, is on the Signal group chat, sort of the main character on that chat. He's trying to deflect on issues of national security as the Wall Street Journal reports this, that he brought his wife, a former Fox News producer, to not one but two meetings with foreign military counterparts where sensitive information was discussed. And that is according to multiple people who were present or had knowledge of the discussions. All that is where we start today with some of our favorite reporters and friends. Shane Harris is here, staff writer for The Atlantic. He's byline on the reporting that reveals the attack plans Pete Hegseth shared to all the participants in the group chat. That includes his colleague, Jeffrey Goldberg. Also joining us, former Democratic Senator, MSNBC political analyst, our friend Claire McCaskill. And with me at the table, contributing writer at Rolling Stone, contributing editor at Wired, author of that New York Times op-ed we read from, Noah Shachtman is here. I start with you. I was out last week, and this story had the weight of so much of the reporting that Shane does and that and that all the Atlantic stories with this kind of reporting about Trump's innermost circle have, and that you have, and has this hallmark of a real sort of meteor strike, right, on the surface, that whatever the sort of BS is that gets peddled from the podium at the White House or whatever, that they know they've been hit, that they've inflicted some damage on their own credibility here and abroad.
Yeah, I think that's absolutely right. This one's cutting through. This is easy for people to understand. Everybody's been on a group chat before. And while it might be common to mistakenly add someone, it's not common for there to be classified information on your group chat. So everybody gets this one.
You know, Shane, I wonder if you can take us through sort of the substance, because as Trump runs furiously to deflection, that's a Trumpian tactic that we all recognize, right? I mean, the substance of this chat reveals that they are conducting the highest level of national security policymaking, stuff that used to happen in person in the Situation Room, or calls that are placed by the sit room operators on a messaging app.
Yeah, you really have like different categories of information here, all of which normally would be reserved for classified systems or the Situation Room. You've got, on the one hand, tactical information, you know, the kinds of planes that are going to be used in these airstrikes, the times that they'll be leaving and beyond their targets. So you sort of have that rundown. And then you have this extended debate about the wisdom of doing the strikes at all. And we should say that, you know, policy discussions like that are often presumed classified as well. It's not just the tactical information, it's the strategic decision-making behind it. And then there are these little sort of revealing nuggets. So when CIA Director John Ratcliffe says, you know, we are positioning assets, and for the CIA, assets usually means spies, human spies on the ground. But 30 days, he says, would give us more time to get eyes on Houthi leadership targets. So that's kind of revealing a gap in U.S. intelligence that exists. You can kind of go through these texts line by line, and there seems to be something revealing pretty much at every turn. And I think that just makes this an extraordinarily dense discussion. It's very rich from a reporting standpoint, and you just don't see this happening in public ever.
I mean, Shane, let me just deal with the Jeffrey Goldberg of it all and his comments yesterday. The reason Mike Waltz seems so frantic, I was gone last week, so I sort of have the perspective that I don't always get when my nose is pressed against the wall. I thought, oh my God, you know, Suckers and Losers is, to me, one of the most searing pieces of journalism I read during Trump's entire first term. The idea, and it's been corroborated by stories told by former chairman of the Joint Chiefs, Mark Milley, and by General Kelly and others, but the idea that he really did say that and sent his flacks out to lie about it, that journalist was added to the inner sanctum of our government's national security apparatus and White House by Trump's own national security advisor. How is he still there the next day?
It's a great question. And I mean, I think that a lot of the reporting we've seen is that what Trump is worried about is not so much that classified information was discussed in front of a journalist, but that particular journalist is in the National Security Advisor's phone. And I won't speak for Jeff. I think he gave a very cogent example of how that happened. I mean, I will say the sort of the cosmic odds of this, of it being Jeff Goldberg that's the one that Waltz apparently added accidentally to the signal thread, is pretty astonishing. You know, we still don't know exactly how it happened. Did he think he was adding a different JG? Did his finger slip? I don't know. But, you know, the explanation for how Jeff ended up in the room is pretty clear. Mike Waltz put him there.
Because he's in his phone. I feel like Trump benefits from the amnesic impact of the volume of crises he creates. But, you know, to Shane's point, that Trump isn't upset that classified information was communicated on Signal, including with Jeffrey Goldberg, because Donald Trump put classified information in his bathroom.
Yeah, and also gave classified information away, you'll remember, to the Russian ambassador at the start of his first term.
Yeah, Lavrov,
Yeah, exactly. Look, this is an administration that we've seen now in the first couple of months of this second Trump administration that really could not care less about whether American secrets are being stolen. You can see that in this Signal chat. You can see the reporting that there's been multiple of these Signal chats. You can see it in their firing of thousands of intelligence officers and other people who have security clearances, and you can see that foreign governments are already starting to recruit those assets. You can see that in how they've treated cybersecurity. You can see that in them breaking up task forces at the Justice Department that go after foreign corruption and covert foreign influence. There is a pattern that's emerged here, which is that the second Trump term just isn't taking the theft of American secrets seriously. It's not taking security seriously, and you see that in these group chats.
So what happens next?
What happens next? I think we're going to see some more leaks, and we're going to see some more mass transfer of information from our systems to systems in Beijing and in the Kremlin.
Because they know anyone trying to reach them can either hope to be added to a group chat or knows exactly where to find them. They're on these
yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Look, one of the biggest hacks of the second Obama administration was when the Office of Personnel Management was hacked and the personal information of every federal employee was revealed. That just got turned over to Doge and Elon Musk's guys, and who knows what's happening with that? Yeah. You know they're not taking it seriously. So the opportunities here for foreign adversaries are enormous, plentiful.